Our weekly live stream. My name is Alicia, and in this week's live lesson we are going to talk about how to talk about something you read recently. In today's live stream I'm going to talk about some questions and responses you can use when you're talking about reading materials. So this is books, magazines, newspapers, maybe social media also. And we're also going to talk about prepositions that you use when you're talking about the things that you read. So I want to use today as a way for you to learn how to appropriately respond to questions about the news or something you're studying, these kinds of everyday conversation topics. Okay? So as you join, please make sure to hit the like button, of course, and share this video so that other people can find today's lesson. That would be super cool. So while we wait for other people to join us live, I have, as always, two super quick announcements. The first one is about this banner at the bottom of the screen that says, "Test your level now." So if you have not checked this out yet, you can find our team's free level check test at EnglishClass101.com. So if you click the link below the video, if you're watching this on YouTube, or above the video, if you're watching this on Facebook, you will find this page. And if you go down on this page, you will find 4 steps to access this test. So if you go down here, you will find 1, 2, 3, 4 steps where you can access this level check test. So you need your name and your email address. Make an account, it is free, and then you can put in your answers to the test and you will get something like this. So you will get some ideas, some lessons, some of my lessons, some lesson courses, pathways, some ideas for you to study. So check this out if you don't know what you should do next. So this is announcement number 1. Announcement number 2, if you have questions for me, please send them to me, but please send them on the official question submission page for our weekly question and answer series called Ask Alicia. That's me. So please send them to EnglishClass101.com/ask-Alicia. That is a very long URL, so please find this link in the YouTube description. Send it to me there. Don't DM me with your questions or write them in Facebook comments. There are hundreds every day. Please send them to the page where I will definitely see your question. Yeah? Do it. Okay? So if you want to do that, you can find the link in any episode of Ask Alicia on YouTube too. So check that out. Okay? And if you want to find me on Instagram or Twitter, you can find those links in the YouTube description also. So come follow me there for stuff. Okay. That's everything for our announcements. I think everything is running okay. Hi, YouTube. Hi, everybody on YouTube. What's up? Luis, hi. And Lucy, hi. Irfanula, hello. Herman from Costa Rica, what is up? Welcome, everybody. Adriana, hi. Hi, Kashaf, what's up? Avelino, what's up? Christian from Argentina, hi, everybody. Facebook, are you here? Facebook is here. What's up, Facebook? How to talk about something you read recently. This is today's topic. Okay, good. It looks like everybody is here. Hi, Pablo and Miguel and Fiasco and Doge. Miguel, another Miguel? San Miguel? San Miguel. Okay, good. All right, let's go to today's first lesson item. So let's begin. Oh, I forgot. Please make sure to like and share the video. I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to start today's lesson. Okay, cool. So let's get into it. Today, we are going to start with this key question. This key question is, have you read anything interesting lately? Have you read anything interesting lately? This is our key question. The pronunciation here is read, not have you read. Have you read, right? This is our past participle form of the verb. Have you read anything interesting lately? At native speed, this sounds like, have you read anything interesting lately? So, how do we respond to this question? I have 3 sample answers, and we're going to break down what's happening in each. So you can send your answer in the chat. I'll try to check live. We'll see. Okay, so the first sample answer here to have you read anything interesting lately is, I read a book about AI technologies. I read a book about AI technologies. So when you are speaking, remember this, I read. This is past tense. The spelling is the same with this verb, yeah? I read a book about AI technologies, okay? So in this sentence, what's happening here? Let's break this down. So, I read a book. This grammar pattern, I read, in simple past tense, expresses you finished the book. You are not reading the book now, it's done. You started and you finished reading the book. Yeah? Okay. So that's one point. I read a book. And then here we have the topic marker, right? This is telling us the topic of the book. I read a book about AI technologies. So after about comes the focus of the book, right? I read a book about AI technologies. You might also hear someone say, I read a book on. Sometimes we use on in this position also. This expresses the topic of something. We'll see this later, I think. I think I have an example, maybe. But I read a book about AI technologies, okay? So this should be a noun phrase, right? This should be a noun phrase. I book about, noun phrase, AI technologies. So plural is okay. Plural is fine. Singular is okay. But this should be a noun phrase, okay? Azim John, I read a book. So again, I read a, don't forget your article, a book about history, not historic, history, the noun, yeah? I read a book about history, then it's perfect, okay? Let's see. John Contreras on Facebook said, I read a book about how to fix machines. So if you want to express like a tutorial or a learning book, I read a book about how to verb. I read a book about how to fix, how to cook, how to take pictures, yeah? I read a book about how to verb is the correct pattern, okay? Good. Ratan, remember on YouTube, what's up? I read a book about data science. Nice, okay. Others, Evanildo, nice try. I have been reading, yeah, I have been reading Progressive about English grammar, good. Jonathan says, I've been reading Children of Dune by Frank Herbert. Okay, so a different grammar point, of course, but nicely done. Ahmed, good point. Have you read versus did you read? Yes, I know. This verb, the pronunciation changes depending on the grammar form. It is so, like, I understand that it is frustrating, but this is just an unusual thing about this verb. So just look for this. This is usually a good hint. Have you read versus did you read? This is one of those things that you'll kind of get practice with over time. Yeah? Okay. So let's continue. Others. Yeah, some people are asking, why do we pronounce it read? This verb, read, in present tense is pronounced read. In past tense and in past participle form, this verb is pronounced read, but the spelling does not change. This is the past tense form. I read. I read. Yeah? I read a book about AI technologies. Okay? You might think, well, how do I know? How do I know? If I saw this sentence, how would I know if it's past tense or present tense? I'm so confused. This is a context thing. So if you see this question, have you read anything interesting lately? Oh yeah, I read a book about AI technologies. Like that's the situation. Based on the question, we know. If you see this, I read a book about AI technologies, it's going to be past tense because I read a book about AI technologies alone doesn't make sense. You could say, I read a book about AI technologies every year, right? We use present tense to talk about regular actions, yeah? But grammatically, this sentence, this doesn't make sense in anything other than past tense. This has to be past tense, okay? Okay, other examples. Asan says, I read a book about Egyptian culture. Nice, okay. Anibal says, I read a book about physics. Cool, okay. Others, let's see. Hello to everyone saying hello. Good. Let's go to the second pattern then. So let's change to a different kind of thing you can read, articles. So again, we are using past tense, simple past tense here, okay? So this morning I read, this morning I read an article about the next election for president. This morning I read an article about the next election for president. Okay, so in this sentence we have the same simple past tense. This morning I read, not read, I read an article. So in this sentence we have article. What is an article? So an article is like a short essay, right? In a magazine, in a newspaper, on the internet, like on a blog maybe, okay? So it's like, it's not a book. A book is very long, right? But an article is something you can read maybe 10 minutes, some long articles, maybe 1 hour, super long articles. So one article in a newspaper or one article in a magazine, it's like maybe 1 page or maybe 3 pages, right? So we express this with the word article, and reminder, your article here, it should be an article. About shows the topic, the next election for president. Yeah? This morning I read an article about the next election for president. So election means the process of choosing the next leader for something. Okay? All right. So when we want to talk about articles, we need to use this, and your article here, and, not a, but an article. This is a noun. Okay? Patrick says, a question, can I use present perfect to talk about a book that I have read and finished, or only past simple? Well, of course. I think maybe I'll answer your question in pattern number 3. I think that uses a progressive form. But someone else used, I have been reading, totally fine. Or if you want to talk about, like, I have read a book about something, you can use that pattern to express your experience reading something. So just think about what you want to communicate. Okay. Ooh, Black Equal has a good one. This afternoon I read an article about my country's environment. Good. Robson says, this week I read an article about world poverty. Okay, nice. Good. Good examples, everybody. Facebook. Ambrator says, I read a book about fixing cars. Perfect. Nice one. Rosa says, this morning I read a geography book about the USA. Okay, nice ones, everybody. Let's continue then to the last example sentence, okay? So the last example sentence, I hope answers the question, the grammar question earlier. So this one uses a different grammar form, yeah? If you want to talk about something, some topic you are reading now, right? So you can say, I've been reading, yeah? I've been reading. So this sounds like something you started reading in the past and you are continuing to read, yeah? So I've been reading about finance and money lately, okay? So we have this different grammar pattern. I've, right? I have been reading, yeah? So this, I hope, answers the question about grammar here. If you want to talk about something you started reading before and continued reading and are still reading now, you can use this grammar point. Also, if you want to make it shorter, you could say, I'm reading a book about finance and money right now, yeah? So you can be very specific with this grammar, or you can just say, I'm reading it now, yeah? I'm reading a book about finance now, yeah? So this lately sounds like I started it maybe last week or last month, yeah? So these are the ways that we can make kind of small choices with our grammar and vocabulary to express a little more nuance, okay? Let's see, what's up? Hello, everybody who is saying hello still. Miguel says, honestly, I haven't read a book since I was in school. Really? You should read books. There's a lot to learn about the world. You should all read books. It's good for your brain. Okay, let's see. Katya on Facebook says, I've been reading about English grammar. Nice, nice. I think probably many of you spend time reading about English grammar. Okay, good. Let's finish part 1 there. So just some grammar points to think about, and don't forget your articles. A, book, an article. Okay, let's take a quick break, and then we'll go to part 2, where we're going to practice some prepositions, okay? So really, really quickly, if you missed it, I tell you all the time, but our team has a free level check test. If you have reached a point in your studies where you think, I don't know what to do next, you can take our team's free level check test at EnglishClass101.com. You can find the link for this below the video if you're watching on YouTube, or above the video if you're watching on Facebook. You need your name and your email address, and then you can access this test. It is totally 100% free, but if you want some ideas, you will get recommendations for your level. You'll answer the questions in the test, and you can get some ideas for what to study next. So check this out. It is at EnglishClass101.com. Okay, let's continue on to the next topic for today. The next topic is preposition focused, okay? So it's important often to explain the source of your information, okay? So you share like something really interesting in a conversation, like, oh, I read about AI technologies. You share some interesting fact, right? And your friend is like, what? Where did you read that? Like maybe they want to read it too, or they want to know the source of the information. Is it true or not? So how do we respond to this question? How do we explain the source of our information? So, first one, if you want to describe a website, for example, the BBC, right? BBC.com in this case, we use this pattern. I read on BBC.com, or, I read it on BBC.com. Let me fix that. So, I read it on website. I read it on website. Yeah? So, this it refers to the article. So if you say, I read an article about AI technologies, then where did you read that? Oh, I read it on BBC.com. Okay? So we use the preposition on. We do not use in or at. We use on. I read it on BBC.com. I read it on CNN.com. Right? So we use on to describe websites. You could also use this for like Twitter, I suppose too, but we usually don't use Twitter so much for like news sources. I know we might find interesting pieces of information, but if you want to use it for Twitter, you can use on here as well. I read it on Twitter. Okay. All right. So I'm looking for your examples. Okay, I'll give some more time there. So this is what we do for websites. Yeah. So I read it on website. Okay. So let's continue to the next one then. So the next one, we are going to look at how to express for magazines. So what do we do when we want to express we found something in a magazine? Okay. So it was in an article in magazine. Okay. It was in an article in Time magazine. Okay. So again, let's use the AI technology example. So you say, oh, I learned this interesting fact about AI technologies. Where did you read that? It was in an article. So this sentence means the information, right? It was in an article. So inside one article, one page maybe, in magazine. So we're kind of going from big to small here. My fact was inside the article, which was inside the magazine, right? This is what this sentence tells us. So here's the fact on the page in the magazine, right? It was in an article in Time magazine. So we can use in for magazines. We do not use the preposition on. We don't say it was in an article on Time magazine. We don't say that. If you want to use a website in this position, though, you should use on. It was in an article on BBC.com. Yeah? So we have to think about our prepositions a lot for this, right? So inside an article, but on a website, right? It maybe is helpful for you if you think about like a magazine or a newspaper or a book. We open it, right? A physical object, right? So we open it and we see things inside it. But with websites, it's like there's a screen in front of us. We cannot physically open it, so we use on for websites. Maybe that's a helpful kind of hint to help you remember, okay? Okay, I'm looking for your examples. Let's see. I don't see. Let's see. I read the book in the library every day. Okay, that's solid. I read the book in the library every day. Okay. I periodically read something on the internet. Okay, good. Nice one. I periodically read something on the internet. All right, nice one. Let's go to the last example then here quickly, because time is going quickly, sorry. So let's go to the third one then. Again, an in example. It was in an article in Time magazine, and it was in newspaper, okay? So if you want to talk about a newspaper item, it was in the New York Times. It was in the New York Times. So again, we have the newspaper title right here. It was in newspaper. So we can use the title of the newspaper right here. In this case, the New York Times is the title of the newspaper, okay? Let's see, looking for your, let's see, somebody put in the YouTube chat, I read that on newspapers, we use in for newspapers. It was in newspaper. It was in the Washington Post. It was in the Nikkei, whatever. It was in the New York Times, okay? So use in for newspapers. So this might be kind of a good tip, yeah? If it's a physical thing, like an old style, like books, newspapers, and magazines, we're not on the internet, of course. So think about using in, because we open those things and get information inside. If it's social media, something on the internet, social media or a website like Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, we use on to express that. So it was in a newspaper. It was in an article, okay? All right, ooh, some long sentences are coming. Nando says, I read an article on the NASA website about the solar eclipse that's going to happen in a few hours. Is there really a solar eclipse coming? I have not read about that. I have not read about that. Okay, Gertrude says, I've been reading about global warming in an article in a National Geographic magazine. Okay. So I've been reading about global warming in an article in National Geographic. Interesting. Okay, good. Nice one. All right, I don't see others right now, so let's continue. Okay, great. Time is going quick, as always. So nice examples, everybody. Keep in mind, prepositions, on and in, especially for your reading items. Okay, let's continue on super quickly. Don't forget to check out our team's level check test if you have not already. Okay, let's go to the last part for today. The last part I want to talk about is how to share details, right? So if you say, like, I don't know, I read an article about finance, or I read an article about tech or something, how do you give some detailed information? Maybe you found like an interesting fact, right? Or you found some really cool information, whatever. How do you express that? I want to cover some key verbs we use to do this. So let's take a look. So let's say the article is about the economy, right? The country's economy, so money and lifestyle in your country. Yeah? Let's say the article said the price of food items is going to increase. The article said the price of food items is going to increase. In this pattern, when you want to share a detail about an article, you can use the verb said, yeah, past tense. I know you think maybe we use say for conversations, right? We also use said, past tense, or you might hear people use says, yeah, the article says when you're reading to someone. But when you report what an article described, you can use past tense said. The article said the price of food items is going to increase, okay? The article said, right? Not said, but said. The article said the price of food items is going to increase. So this is one verb we use to report, okay? So like I said, sometimes we do use present tense here, but we do that when we are reading at the same time as someone. Like, let's say you're on your phone looking for information, and Google says the restaurant is open now. That means it's like you are reading together right now. Like, Google says this, or Google says that. The article says this. You might hear people use says if you are reading at the same time as someone else. That's why. It sounds like you are experiencing it together. Or you might also hear people say the article or Google is saying, right? It sounds like it's now. That's the reason people might use different grammar there. Okay, so with this in mind, let's continue to the second verb I want to talk about. This next one is claim, okay? So the book claimed, past tense, the book claimed we're going to have a lot of new tech in 10 years, okay? The book claimed we're going to have a lot of new tech in 10 years. So the focus verb here is claim, claim. So to claim something, in this case, to claim we are going to have a lot of new technology in 10 years means that's like the main idea of the book, right? Or that's a key idea of the book. So when we say claim, it sounds like someone has an idea. In this case, the book's writer's idea is this, right? There's going to be a lot of tech, but it's possible that's not true, or it's possible that's not correct. So when we use claim to report these kinds of things, we use claim to mean we understand this is the idea, but it is possible that's not true, right? So it's like we recognize, we can see this is an idea, but it's possible the future will be different, right? So this is what we use claim to do, okay? So we could use claim in this sentence. The article claimed the price of food items is going to increase, right? So the reason that said is okay to use here is because this is probably an article about the very, very near future. Like maybe it's very easy to guess, or maybe we know already from information in the market, price is going to increase, right? This one is about something 10 years in the future, right? So we don't know 100%, right? So we might use claim in these cases, right? Where we don't know so much about the future. Okay. I'm looking for your examples and questions. Menia, is it okay to say it was in a newspaper? Yes, you can say it was in a newspaper. Yes, you can just say newspaper and you don't have to say the name of the newspaper. Let's see. Kashav says, here's an example. I read an article about time zones. Nice. The article said that we have 24 time zones. That's why we have 24 hours. Really? Okay. Interesting article. Okay. The article explained ins and outs for the increasing price of food products. Nice one, Ahmed. Okay. Let's see. Facebook. Anything else? Facebook? I don't see. Let's see. I see one person sending examples and some other people writing random things. Okay, let's go to the last part. The last part for today uses one more verb I want to talk about, which is talks. Talks. Okay, in this case, I've used talks in present tense. I want to give an example of this. We can use the verb talk to mean explain. Yeah? Of course, a book does not talk, maybe audiobook, but we use talk to mean explain or is about. So this example sentence is, the book talks about effective negotiation tactics. Effective negotiation tactics. So like making like a business deal, right? How to make a business deal. So the verb here is talks. Why did I use present tense talks? In this case, let's see if I have an example. Let's say that you have a book and you want to explain this book to your friend. Like your friend asked you for a book recommendation. And you go, okay, well, here's a book I think you might like. This book explains these negotiation ideas. So it's like I'm sharing it with you now in the present moment. So we might use present tense talks. It's like I'm giving you the information about it right now, so check it out, okay? So you can use talk to do this. Of course, we could say talked. We could use past tense, like, oh yeah, this book talked about effective negotiation tactics, yeah? So we could use it in that way, but again, we use that present tense grammar point sometimes when we want to really emphasize, like, in this moment, right? I'm telling you something in this moment. So this is music. This is not actually a book, but this is how we can use talk, right? To express, like, explaining something, yeah? So this will give you kind of a good way to naturally describe the topic of something in kind of a real-time together sort of feel with someone, okay? So this is how we can use talk and claim and say to describe the details of something, okay? What's the difference between claim and talk? So remember, I said claim we use when we understand an idea, but we think it's not true, or it's possible it's not true, right? We're going to have a lot of new tech in 10 years, but we don't know 10 years. When I say talk, this book, it talks about, another way to understand this book is about effective negotiation tactics. It's a fact, right? This is the difference here. Okay. Other points, let's see. Ashley, good one. According to. Ashley uses the pattern according to. According to CNN, the price of oil will increase in a few months. Yeah, so we can use according to source. According to CNN, according to the BBC, according to this article. Yes, of course, you can use according to. Okay. All right. Nice examples are coming in, everybody. Katya on Facebook says, the book talks about specific vocabulary related to pollution. Nice. Very nice. So I would recommend talks for when you want to kind of, I personally use this pattern, talks, when I'm like kind of trying to give my review, sort of my review or my summary of something. Like, I think my friend might enjoy this or might be interested in this. Let me explain. So I might use talks here. This said sounds like a report, right? This talk sounds more like what you are going to learn a lot about from. Like, it sounds more like a something you can kind of get into and learn a lot. Okay, so I hope that is interesting and helpful for you. But I have to finish because I'm late as usual. I talked too long, so we'll finish there for today. All right, so those are 3 verbs you can use to share some details about the things that you read. Okay, so I'll finish there for today, but that was awesome. Thank you so much for sending your amazing example sentences and questions. But I have to wrap it up for today. So let's see. Let's take a look at next week's lesson information. Where are you? Next week's lesson information. Here you are. Okay. So next week, of course, I'll be back as always. Next week, the lesson date will be April 26th. That will be Wednesday, April 26th at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is New York City time. If you don't know your local time, please Google it or use the notification functions on Facebook or on YouTube, or if you follow me on Instagram, I sometimes post a link and a topic reminder in my Instagram stories, so come follow me on Instagram to get that. Next week, we're going to talk about, again, how to make study routines. This is a good one to refresh yourself on, and it's also important to refresh your study routines so you don't always study like the same, like how to introduce yourself lesson forever, right? So how do you make a study routine? How do you refresh your study routine? How do you know, like, okay, I should change this, put something new in, move forward, challenge yourself. So this is an important one to talk about every once in a while. So please join me for this next week. All right, that's it for me for today. So I hope that you enjoyed today's lesson about how to describe things you have read recently. That's a good one, very good one for conversation. So I'll say goodbye for now. So don't forget, of course, if you want to take our team's free level check test, don't forget you can do that. You can do it right now. The lesson is ending. So you can do that right now from EnglishClass101.com. Check the link in the YouTube description or in the Facebook description, one of those. It is totally free, and I hope it gives you some good ideas. Okay? So otherwise, have a great week. Have a great weekend. Come find me on Instagram. Enjoy your